So the fighting game JoJo's All-Star Battle is getting a remaster for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo and for PC. We have been promised a total of 50 characters to battle with. In the original version, only 40 JoJo characters were included. 41 if you count Ikuro from Bao. That means that alongside the familiar cast we will be getting an additional 9 characters, maybe even 10 if they don't include Ikuro. Therefore I will predict 7 JoJo characters in this video. Now you might wonder why 7, that's because some early leaks have been shown. We can already see on some screenshots that Trish and Prosciutto will be included in the roster. I was definitely expecting Trish to appear, her model is already there from Eyes of Heaven, and she has a cool stand ability. However, I did not expect to see Prosciutto on the leaks. If you had told me that he'd be included in the game, I'd have thought as a stage dynamic, kinda like Weather Report. We can also see a new Pucci render, so that could indicate him to also be divided into 2 different versions of him, kinda like in Eyes of Heaven. But I'm actually leaning towards there only being one Pucci in the game, who starts with Whitesnake, then gets Seamoon and then Made in Heaven. So we already have 2 of the 9 characters confirmed, that leaves us with 7. My first prediction would be Foo Fighters. She is a fan favorite and her stand ability allows her to be creative in fights. I could definitely see her as a range fighter. In the trailer we can also see that Hermes is in front of the barn house where Jolene and Hermes fought Foo Fighters in the story. This could lead to think that Foo Fighters will be a character in the game. Moving on, next on my list is Joshu Higashkata. Just like with Trish, his model is already existing. That means that it wouldn't be that big of an effort to implement him into All-Star Battle. His stand allows him to fight up close, and I could imagine him being able to lay traps of some sort. We can already tell that Joshu's stand could work in a 1v1 fight, so there's honestly no doubt for me that we will see him get added to the game. Going back all the way to part 3, a clear pick for me, that some might find surprising, is Mariah. Now Mariah is a character that is playable in Heritage for the Future and Eyes of Heaven. I do wonder why they never chose to include her in All-Star Battle. I think her fighting tactics would be centered around laying traps, So Heritage for the Future is a solid proof to me that she could work in All-Star Battle as well. And because her model in Eyes of Heaven looks pretty good to me, they could just import her from there. If you haven't been surprised by my picks, then check this out. Robert Eo Speedwagon from part 1. Let me tell you why. First, he is a beloved character by all JoJo fans, so nobody would really complain about him being there. Secondly, his fighting style would work really well in a 2D fighting game like All-Star Battle. First thing that comes to mind is his hat, of course, that he could throw around. Another weapon that he could use would be the sledgehammer that we've seen him use in the manga. If I had to predict another part 8 character, I'd personally go with Mamezuku Rai. Though I do admit that unlike the other characters, it's kinda hard for me to imagine what his moveset would be. Sure, he can attack with his own body, but if that's the only thing he could do, then his creativity would be quite limited. In general, I don't see any other part 8 characters make good fighting characters, and I know the 12 JoJolian fans are gonna be mad at me for saying that, but Tamaki Damo could work maybe, but the stand again is hard to imagine to direct fight someone, maybe with the dollar bills, I don't know, then again, they did add Prosciutto, so anything is possible at this point. I've heard many people say Toro would be a good pick. Why? I don't know, he's probably the worst character from JoJo's to add to a fighting game. I mean, this here basically sums up his entire moveset. Anyway, so that leaves me with 2 more characters. One of the characters I'm really hoping to see is Diego. His ability, Scary Monsters, just works so well in a fighting scenario. He could fight up close, but also be able to summon little dinosaurs. I really hope that they will add him to the playable characters. Again here, the model is already existing, so just slap him in there, man. The final playable character is going to be the part 9 protagonist. There's no chance that they will add him on release, considering the game releases this fall. So even if JoJo Lands comes out before that, we will know enough of his abilities to make him be a character in a fighting game. That's why I'm expecting them to add him as a DLC once we get somewhat of an understanding of what his or her stand can do. Maybe 20-30 chapters deep into JoJo Lands. That would take some years to write though, so we should hope that the developers would still be interested in adding new content when the blueprint for the character is ready by then. If I had to make another prediction, cause let's say they don't include Ikura for some reason, then I would either go with Yukako, Gyacho or Seko. These 3 are, I guess, in my honorable mentions, I don't know. And what are your predictions? Who do you think they will add? Who do you want them to add? Let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to reply.